Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my podcast where I cover all things science fiction. My name is Arnav Thapa, and today we will be diving into artificial intelligence, where science fiction meets reality by Deborah Kapula, the book Technophobia by Daniel Danello, and the BBC lecture The Biggest Event in Human History by Stuart Russell. Previously, on the last podcast, we discussed the formation of the genre of science fiction cinema, and the technological advances that came with it. But today we will be discussing more of the artificial intelligence side of science fiction and how it was quite possibly the most profound change in human history. We will also be extending our knowledge of artificial intelligence on how it is today and how it was during the mid 1900s, and diving into a deeper discussion regarding science fiction. So sit back and stay tuned till the end of this podcast to learn more about artificial intelligence regarding science fiction and maybe even have a different stance on it. First off, let's start off with what is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the ongoing development of a system that was coded to think and work like a human. Artificial intelligence is the elimination of any work that requires human intelligence and is programmed to work without the help of anything. The tasks that artificial intelligence holds are machine learning, language processing, computer and robotics vision, and virtual assistants. Ultimately, artificial intelligence is human intelligence without consciousness. Beginning with the article Where Science Fiction Meets, Deborah Kapula talks about the history of artificial intelligence. She states that artificial intelligence has a rich history starting in the 1900s, when the idea of artificial intelligence gained a lot of scientific credibility when George Boole, a British mathematician, founded and led the foundation for many AI systems. Boole's foundation for the AI systems consisted of symbolic algebra to represent logic and thought processes. Fast forward 30 years later to 1930s, an MIT student figured out that Boole's theories on electrical circuits led to the circuits potentially solving numerical problems by themselves. This was the start of how science fiction met reality regarding artificial intelligence. During this time, the idea of artificial intelligence was not fully in action, but it was hinted at. During the 1950s, Norbert Wiener, a mathematician, was a big influence in the development of simulating intelligent behavior with computers because of his feedback theory of intelligence and his thoughts on artificial intelligence. Also during this time, several computer programming advances were being introduced, which ultimately extended the research on artificial intelligence. Although artificial intelligence is following the science fiction path and being developed constantly, the path of development isn't always perfect and always has some flaws, both minor and major. Tomas Lozano Perez points out the problem of speech recognition in artificial intelligence. Due to many languages and accents that millions of people have, speaking and getting artificial intelligence to understand everything word by word is a mission of its own. As we dive into the book Technophobia by Daniel Danello, Danello in the book goes over common fears when thinking about the idea of artificial intelligence. One of the fears is the machines being out of control. As artificial intelligence developed, so did the increase in pop culture phobia. As artificial intelligence developed, so did the increase in pop culture technophobia of crazy out of control computers. People were afraid of computers losing control and potentially wiping out the human race, which is very highly unlikely. A film in 1954 named Gog was about a computer named Novak, which loses control and sets out to complete murderous objectives. Novak was considered to be the Frankenstein of steel, but it could, quote, think a thousand times faster, move 1,000 times faster, and even kill 1,000 times faster. This movie, along with many others, such as Frankenstein, implemented a fear in the minds of people that made them turn against artificial intelligence and maybe even have technophobia. As we now dive into the final topic of the BBC lecture by Stuart Russell, on how artificial intelligence is the biggest event in human history, Stuart Russell, a world-renowned researcher in the field of AI research, lectures us on how applying artificial intelligence to our daily lives can change humans and the human race. Russell dives into the task of artificial intelligence and how if we replace humans with robots, they can keep up with some of the work that humans have in today's world. Some work, but not all. One of the main points Russell dives into is the importance of the development of artificial intelligence and how it can take on some tasks without considering safety and logical reasoning. This relates to the book Technophobia on how fear kicks in when considering artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence may have tendencies to bypass logical reasoning and safety for humans, but only time can tell as it has not occurred yet. The only way to prevent this is by better coding, and that's it basically. As we conclude our discussion here today, we can positively say that artificial intelligence is going in the right direction, but we have to be very cautious because of the risk that could potentially pop up. Deborah Capula, Daniel Danello, and Stuart Russell all had very convincing thoughts on artificial intelligence, and it is safe to say that our knowledge on artificial intelligence has grown from the beginning of the podcast. Thank you all for listening to my podcast, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.